One fun fact about yourself, that would be that I played competitive ultimate frisbee for a very long time. This is a good one. My name's Chris Harman. I'm a civil engineer. I'm a technical director in charge of digital engineering, design transformation in the United States, and I represent us to the wider business in the design transformation kind of digital initiatives that we're working on around the globe for EDPM. I graduated from Auburn University in 2003. I went straight to work for a municipal civil site firm in Birmingham, Alabama, where I worked on kind of a range of smaller site civil and municipal projects. In 2005, my wife and I moved to London, United Kingdom, where I took a job for a structural engineering firm that did a lot of vertical projects. And I ran their civil infrastructure department, so all the kind of site civil and drainage works associated with their projects. And then in 2010, I became a chartered engineer, member of the Institution of Civil Engineers, and swapped over to Atkins at the time, where I joined their engineering major projects division. I worked there until moving back home to the Southeast, Atlanta, Georgia, United States in 2012, where I still worked for Atkins, member of SNC-Lavalin. It's funny, actually, I was torn between environmental science and civil engineering, and on the first day of university, the advisor said, "I'm just going to sign you up for civil engineering because it'd be harder to switch to civil later than it would be to switch to environmental later." And doing my kind of prerequisite undergrad classes, I realized that I just really enjoy kind of big geometry, conic sections, real things that you can get your head around, building the real world at real scale. In digital engineering, I get to work on a lot of cool things, everyone's projects. Augmented reality, virtual reality we're seeing on projects, the kind of extended realities. And that can be anything from carrying a device into the field and augmenting what you're seeing with something that's on your screen and what's in reality. It could be wearing a HoloLens on site. And then what we're working on now that's really cool is virtual reality. So putting actually in a headset and immersing yourself in a project that you're working on or a site and actually being in there collaboratively. So having people from different offices, different places around the globe all come together in a virtual space and interact with each other as kind of an avatar. And I think what's really exciting about that is that there's not really a vocabulary for a lot of it. That we're doing stuff in VR and we're trying to describe interactions with each other, and it's not real. So you can't say, there, but you can't really say over here because you're there. I don't know. It's just an exciting space to be in. For me, I think that's a juxtaposition of two roles, right? So you take that kind of smaller mom and pop firm that I started right out of school. They were very old fashioned. We didn't have email addresses. We didn't have a network when I first joined. And did all our prints to Mylar, which is, that kind of vellum, plasticky paper. And we did reproduction on a blue line machine, with ammonia, like actual blueprints. And that was a really good experience because my manager at the time, he liked me to lay all the Mylars out. So I would do all the production, make all the prints after it had gone through quality control, and I've got them all laid out in this long thing. And he would stand there holding his seal, and he would wet ink seal and wet sign every single one. He would ask me, "Is it right?" And it had to be right. He would flip around, and I'd printed to Mylar. It's expensive, you get in trouble if you do it wrong. And we didn't issue revisions, we didn't issue change orders. This is what went to site, and this is what the contractor was going to build. And kind of in contrast to that was working for engineering major projects in the UK and London. I worked on, Jeddah Airport, Crossrail, Olympic Park. I was in a different office every day, sometimes at a different seat every day of the week. And it was just, there are no dumb questions. The best way to learn was just to dive in and start doing it, make some mistakes, know when to say you're out of your depth, and know how to try to move things along as far as you can before you get to that point. And those two things, the importance of getting it right and doing that kind of engineering, and also the importance of just digging in and getting on with it. Yeah, I think that those probably had the biggest impact on my career to date, and just who I am as an engineer. So the first company I worked for in London was, a smaller firm. They were structural engineers, and I ran their civil department. So I did the civil site work on everyone's projects, and I found myself with this just incredibly large workload, like 30 projects on the go. And my coping mechanism for having too much to do was just to work more, right? You just work more hours, always meet your deadlines and work the weekends if you have to. And my manager at the time pulled me aside one day and he said, you're never gonna get through that tree using that dull axe. If you take a step back and you sharpen it, you might find you get through it a lot more quickly. And I didn't understand what he meant at the time. And kind of in subsequent meetings with him, he explained it feels wrong to take a step back and plan, but you can get so much more done. He showed me how to write a program, break a project down into discrete tasks with deadlines and dates, and then, delegate those tasks. And I think the most important thing he taught me is that, if you try to do everything yourself, you'll never get as much done as you want. You have to be able to break it down into tasks, delegate those tasks, understand when you're at your limit and figure out how to do more by, planning ahead and getting help appropriately rather than just trying to carry it all. And that's it. Thanks very much.